This page was created to teach Black history. Unfortunately, the American educational system was designed to exclude our real historical account, so we are here to dismantle it. It's time to enlighten those of us who have been kept in the dark. I am a Black man who didn't know enough about my own history, so I began to dig deeper and do my own research. Black history is American history, so I want people of all races and cultures to join together to learn our history as one. Here, I will share all of my findings. Please like, follow, share, and subscribe to Teaching Black History. The story of Garrett Augustus Morgan. Morgan was born in 1877 in Claysville, Harrison County, Kentucky, an almost exclusively African American community outside Paris, Kentucky. His father was Sidney Morgan, a son and freed slave of Confederate General John H. Morgan. His mother, also a freed slave, was Elizabeth Reed, daughter of Reverend Garrett Reed. She was part Native American. He had a brother named Frank, who helped in the 1916 Lake Erie Tunnel rescue. Morgan only received a 6th grade education at Branch Elementary School in Claysville, then moved in search of work at the age of 14 to Cincinnati, Ohio. He spent most of his teenage years working as a handyman for a Cincinnati landowner. Like many American children growing up at the turn of the century, Morgan had to quit school at a young age to work full-time. Morgan was able to hire a tutor and continue his studies while working in Cincinnati. In 1895, he moved to Cleveland, where he began repairing sewing machines for a clothing manufacturer. This experience sparked Morgan's interest in how things worked, and he built a reputation for fixing them. His first invention made during this period was a belt fastener for sewing machines. Morgan also invented a zigzag attachment for sewing machines. In 1907, Morgan opened a sewing machine shop. 1 year later, he helped start the Cleveland Association of Colored Men. In 1908, he and his wife, Mary Ann, opened Morgan's Cut Rate Ladies Clothing Store. The shop, which made coats, suits, dresses, and other clothing, ultimately had 32 employees. Around 1910, his interest in repairing other people's inventions waned, and he became interested in developing some of his own. He received his first patent in 1912. In 1913, Morgan experimented with a liquid that gave sewing machine needles a high polish that prevented the needle from burning fabric as it sewed. In 1905, Morgan accidentally discovered that the liquid also straightened hair. He made the liquid into a cream and launched the G.A. Morgan Hair Refining Company to market it. He also made a black hair oil dye and invented a curved tooth comb for hair straightening in 1910. Garrett Morgan invented a safety hood smoke protection device after seeing firefighters struggling from the smoke they encountered in the line of duty. His device used a moist sponge to filter out smoke and cool the air. It also took advantage of the way smoke and fumes tend to rise to higher positions while leaving a layer of more breathable air below by using an air intake tube that dangled near the floor. The safety hood used a series of tubes to draw clean air of the lowest level the tubes could extend to. smoke being hotter than the air around it, rises, and by drawing air from the ground, the safety hood provided the user with a way to perform emergency respiration. He filed for a patent on the device in 1912 and founded a company called the National Safety Device Company in 1914 to market it. In 1916, Morgan rescued workers trapped in a water intake tunnel 50 feet beneath Lake Erie, using a hood fashioned to protect his eyes from smoke and featuring a series of air tubes that hung near the ground to draw clean air beneath the rising smoke. He received a patent for his smoke hood design in 1914, the year he launched the National Safety Device Company. It is unknown whether the smoke hood brought him any commercial success. No sales figures have been found, but his use of guerrilla marketing, going to different venues and demonstrating his smoke hood by strapping it on and entering a smoke-filled teepee, certainly demonstrated his faith in his own invention. His safety hood device was simple and effective, whereas the other devices in use at the time were generally difficult to put on, excessively complex, unreliable, or ineffective. It was patented and awarded a gold medal 2 years later by the International Association of Fire Chiefs. Morgan's safety hood was used to save many lives during the period of its use. The first American-made automobiles were introduced to consumers just before the turn of the 20th century, and pedestrians, bicycles, animal-drawn wagons, and motor vehicles all had to share the same roads. To deal with the growing problem of traffic accidents, a number of different versions of the traffic signaling device began to be developed simultaneously starting around 1913. Morgan had witnessed a series of accidents at an intersection, and he filed for a patent for a traffic control device having a third warning position in 1922. The patent was granted in 1923, though this was not the first system with a warning, a 3-signal system being invented in 1920 by William Potts, and several other previous systems, some of which had audio warnings. Later in life, he developed glaucoma, and by 1943 was functionally blind. He had poor health the rest of his life, but continued to work on his inventions. One of his last was a self-extinguishing cigarette, which used a small plastic pellet filled with water placed just before the filter. He died on July 27, 1963, at age 86, and was buried at the Lakeview Cemetery in Cleveland.